Okay, joining me now is Amy Janzwood, author of Mega Pipelines, Mega Resistance. She's also an assistant professor of political science at McGill. Nice to see you, Amy.
Thanks for being here.
What's your position on this potential pipeline to the BC coast?
Sure. So I've commented in the media in the past around the kind of political, economic, and legal challenges for a new oil pipeline, and in particular to the northwest coast of BC. And so I don't see that those conditions have changed in recent days or recent weeks related to this negotiation of an MOU.
What has changed, though, is the trade war with America in recent months and the fact that Canada is trying to position itself as an energy superpower on the world stage. And one of the parts of being an energy superpower is, of course, oil, and Alberta's big push for that. And so do you think there's a way to see this through?
So I think it would be extremely difficult to try to force a new oil pipeline. We have a long history of these similar efforts around the Northern Gateway pipeline project. And I think it was quite clear when that project, even before it was canceled, Enbridge had said that without leadership from First Nations and Indigenous communities and a strong voice from the provincial government in BC, that such a project would not be likely. And so we have a long history of contestation over oil pipelines. We know, of course, that the federal government purchased the Trans Mountain Expansion project. That project is not currently at capacity, and there have been folks within industry that have said that there's ample capacity within the existing pipeline system.
And so what about that argument? Because that's what David Eby, the Premier of BC, would say. He said, let's just increase capacity. There are things that could be done to increase the capacity on the Trans Mountain Pipeline, the terminals in Burnaby, BC, and the lower mainland of BC. Could that be the option here? Is that a better option in your opinion, and why?
Sure. So I think there's, certainly challenges, environmental, ecological costs associated with increasing tanker traffic around the Trans Mountain Expansion. But certainly, given a lot of the challenges around Northern Gateway, it would be very financially unviable for a new pipeline like that to be built. There's also other kinds of expansions and incremental capacity options within other pipelines, existing networks within, for example, the Enbridge mainline system. And so there's a number of conversations that are taking place where pipeline companies, have been very savvy at taking advantage of existing pipeline infrastructure.
So what are you expecting is going to be announced on Thursday? Everybody's expecting a memorandum of understanding around a potential new pipeline. What are you thinking is going to be announced?
Yeah, I'm quite surprised to see the amount of support that we've seen from the federal government for a new oil pipeline, especially given the very recent political history of the Trans Mountain Expansion project. Taxpayers are on the hook for that. It's on the upwards of $35 billion. But on Thursday, there has been rumors that there'll be more support for carbon capture and storage. We already know that the federal government has been very generous in its subsidies for carbon capture and storage. In support for Danielle Smith's suggestions of increasing the using the existing industrial carbon pricing system, although, of course, we know that there is already a long history of failed bargains around support for climate policy in Alberta in exchange for new pipelines. So I think this makes it, a quite challenging political context to have a credible commitment at this point.
But Amy, for Thursday, I'm just trying to ask you to crystal ball here for a second, because as we understand it, the Prime Minister is traveling to Calgary on Thursday. There's lots of buzz of a potential announcement. We don't know the substance of that yet. It could be what you're referring to, carbon capture and storage, and the Pathways project that the Major Projects Office is examining right now as a potential avenue. I doubt it's going to be that. Do you think we're going to hear about Pathways, or do you think we're going to hear about pipeline?
Sure. So certainly this conversation around Pathways has been, very intimately connected to Danielle Smith's lobbying and strategies around new pipelines. So I don't think that there will be an announcement around a new pipeline per se. That's not how pipeline development works, although we are in quite peculiar times at the moment, but I do expect there'll be some kind of agreement around, support for industrial carbon pricing in exchange for something like, exploring the options around expanded transportation options for Alberta.
And a key point on that you made earlier, we don't have a company backing a pipeline yet, so that's a crucial missing piece. We'll be staying tuned Thursday. We appreciate your insight today. Amy Janzwood, author of Mega Pipelines, Mega Resistance, joining us from Montreal.
Thank you.